Today we are going to learn how to use our CPSD email program called First Class. To get started, you can either find the icon on your desktop that looks like this, a blue globe with several people surrounding it, or you can go to cpsd.us. You can click on the For Students tab, and in your toolbox you will see that it says Email. Today we are going to be taking a look at the First Class client, we call it, which is loaded onto your computers. So click on the First Class client to open, and you will type in your student ID number in the user ID box, and then in the password box you're going to type student, and then press the green arrow to log in. Now that you have logged into the First Class client, the first thing that we're going to do is change the password for our account. Please click on the word Collaborate to see the drop-down menu, and the fourth item down, Change Password. You need to click here. You're going to type student as your old password, and you're going to use your Google Drive password for your First Class account. So please type in your Google Drive password twice, once in the new password box and once in the retype password box. So from now on, when you log into First Class, your user ID is going to be your student number, and your password is going to be the password that you use for your Google Drive account. So to make that happen, press the OK button right here. And when you're in First Class for the first time, you will see a desktop that looks like this with some icons. The most useful part of your First Class account is the mailbox that you see up here in the upper left corner. Click on Mailbox. In here you'll probably see some messages, maybe some VoiceThread, emails, other messages from the district. So to view a new message, I would just click on the email that I would like to see, and down below it will show me who the message is from. It will show me the subject of the message, who it was sent to, and anyone who was BCC'd. And we will talk about this a little bit later in our lesson. And then you'll see the message of the email down at the bottom in the second half of that box. So let's practice writing an email to somebody. Click the New button up here in the upper left corner. When you do that, a box will pop up, and it will prompt you to put in a subject, something in the to line, something in the copy line, and we will again talk about that in a bit. You see here that I have a signature. You probably won't have a signature as a 7th grade student, and that's okay. You don't need one. It's just something that teachers have in the district to let people know who we are when we send emails to one another. So in the subject line, you want to make sure that you're giving a very clear subject. Was up, or even hello, exclamation point. Doesn't let the person you're writing to know what message you are sending to them. Be specific and clear when giving your email a subject. Think about the person you're writing to. Do they know you? Have you already discussed the topic you're writing about? You want to make sure that you are presenting yourself in a professional way. So right now, let's practice by typing in a subject that looks like this. Science question from CSUS Scholar. So we're pretending that we're writing to a scientist. And if it's the first email we send to the scientist, it's important that our subject lets the scientist know exactly what it is that we are writing for and who we are. So in the to box, you type the recipient's email address. Email addresses don't have spaces and need to be spelled exactly as they are. If you misplace a period or an @ sign or misspelled the address in any way, the email is going to bounce back to you. So make sure you are typing the email address exactly as you would have received it. If the person you're writing to is a student or teacher in the Cambridge Public Schools, you can type the first part or all of the person's first name, press space, and part or all of the teacher's last name. And if you press enter, that person's email address is going to pop up right in your toolbox. You don't have to worry about knowing at cpsd.us or anything like that. You may either see it automatically pop up in the toolbox, or you may have to choose from the drop-down menu if there's more than one person in the district with the name that you entered. Either way, this way you can be sure their email address is correct. If you're writing to someone who is not a teacher or scholar in the Cambridge Public Schools, you will need to enter the email address exactly as it was given to you. So right now, type in csusscience@gmail.com. And when you press the tab button, it lets you enter that email address in. You can see it formats nicely with a little icon next to it. That means that first class has decided that the email address may not be spelled perfectly correctly, but it fits the format of an email address. So they're letting you enter it in there. So you see right here that you can CC somebody on an email. CC stands for carbon copy, and it means that you're copying someone on your email. Let's say that you are writing to a scientist as part of your science studies. You would send the email to the scientist. Who might you CC or copy on that email? It might be a great idea to CC or copy your teacher on that email so that she can see all of the correspondence that you are having with that scientist. So let's write an email. Practice writing an email to our scientist. I'm going to erase my signature here so it's not in our way. So when composing an email, you must address the person by their name. So it should look something like this. Dear Mr. Jones, comma. You could also type, hello, Mr. Jones. Usually we put a comma after hello. That's the correct grammatical way to write it. So either way will work, and then you press return twice to start a new paragraph. If you don't know the person you're writing to, be sure to introduce yourself. You might want to write something like this. My name is Jane, and I am a 7th grade student at Cambridge Street Upper School in Cambridge. I am writing to you to ask some questions as part of the NetPals program. I am excited to learn from you during the upcoming school year! Exclamation point. When we end an email, we type a closing. And I really like the word sincerely at the end of an email, especially a student email. I think it makes you sound very grown up and professional. And then you sign your name. Clicking the check spelling button is a really important idea and habit to get into. The spell checker is going to find a word that you maybe should replace. It's going to find a suggestion to replace it with. And if it were a word that were longer, it would have more suggestions down here at the bottom. So I'm going to skip it because it's not giving me the right suggestion. I'm going to go back and fix that when I edit my email. I see that it says NetPals and it doesn't recognize NetPals and it wants to replace it with metals. Well, I don't want to say metals. I know that NetPals is the right word. So I want to add that word to my spell checker database. So I'm going to press add word. Now I still need to look at my email again. We want to make sure that we are not just looking at spelling, but also reading it over to make sure that you've used correct punctuation and capitalized all of the words that should be capitalized, like people's names and the name of any institutions you write about, like our school, for instance. Make sure to check for run-on sentences as well. If you pause when reading a sentence and discover that you've written two separate sentences in one, separate them with a period and a capital letter for the second sentence. So, my name is Jane, and I'm a 7th grade student at Cambridge. This is the name of my school, so I need to capitalize street and upper. I am writing to you to ask some questions as part of the NetPals program. I think as I read that out loud, which I recommend you do, that right here, I've ended a sentence and I've started a new sentence. I'm writing to you to ask some questions as part of the NetPals program, full sentence. I am excited to learn from you during the upcoming school year. Sincerely, Jane. This seems like a really well-written email and ready to go. So if you're happy with your message, you can press send up here in the upper left corner of your new message box. And you will see the sent message in your mailbox, which is really great. It keeps copies of them right there. You will also see if someone has replied. And you can click on the reply. This one came automatically because I've set the account to reply to you. It says that the scientist will be out of the office on Friday, October 16th, and will return and will reply to all emails when he does return. And this is the scientist saying thank you and his name. So you get to have both the to messages and the from messages in your same box. You can see here always. So that is the basics of signing in, changing your password, and composing a new email, and then looking at emails that you have received in your inbox. When you leave your email account, always, always, always sign out. In this case, signing out is quitting first class. If you went to cpsd.us and went to the For Students tab and logged into the email right here, log in. You typed in your user ID number, you typed in the same password you use for Google Drive, and you log in. It's going to look a little different, but the same ideas. You have your mailbox up here. You get to see the email that you sent. You see the email that has come back in the same conversation. This is where you log out. You click the three little bars at the top and you press log out. Always, always, always sign out. You do not want people to have access to your personal email account, ever. And you should get into the habit of always signing out of any account that you sign into. So I'm going to go to first class, up in the upper left corner, and then I'm going to press quit first class. If you have any first class questions, please see Miss Connolly in the library or email me at nconnollY@cpsd.us.